Hello. So people are still joining, and I'm going to give it a few minutes as everything is announced, and I'm going to finish this email real quick. Hello. I'm just finishing up an email while everybody's rolling in. Send out a message. Right. So we are going to talk today. We're finishing up, we're finishing up Romans, and we're going to finish up talking about Corinthians and Timothy. These are all Clobber verses. Finishing Clobber passages. And then I'm going to pin this. There we go. That way everybody knows what we're talking about. I'll send you the list shortly. All right. So as people coming out, that's all we're doing is we're talking about the Clobber passages. We're going to be talking about first Romans, and then we are going to be talking about Corinthians and Timothy. So if you don't have your Bible in front of you, you can obviously get one or just follow along. But we're just going to be talking about verses that are notoriously used to basically attack the LGBT community. So if this is your first time joining, my name is Alex, and I am the president and owner of QCFV, or Queer Christian Family Values. And hello, Mustard Doodle. I like your username. BlueJ0713. So yeah, as you have questions, feel free to ask, but we're first going to go through Romans, and then I'll jump into the other ones. So Romans 1, verses 26 through 27 is what we're going to go for. So I have my bookmarks. Let's see. Here we go. So this one is the one that, well, all of them are pretty heavy, but we're going to start with this one. So this one is, again, Romans chapter 1. Verse 26 through 27. This is what it says in the King James Version. It says, For this cause God gave them up unto vile affections, for even their women did change the natural use into that which is against nature. And likewise unto the men, leaving the natural use of the woman, burned in their lust one toward another, men with men working that which is unseemly, and receiving in themselves that recompense of their error which was meet. So a lot of people, getting more comfortable, a lot of people use that as a way to bash the gay community, saying, well, they're going against nature. Well, nature is what is natural for that person. Are they naturally oriented towards the opposite sex, or are they naturally oriented to the same sex, or both? What is the nature for that person? So that's the key element there. That's the key word that people are stuck on, is because what someone thinks is natural for themselves, they're trying to put onto other people. There's some notes that I have here, but it is really pagan worship that this is really talking about. It's not anything in regards to orientation that, as they understand it, they just see everything as natural, as procreative. But it is, nature is God-given. And if one is going against their nature, their natural selves that God has ordained you to be, then that's really going against nature. So if you are naturally attracted to the same sex and you try to force yourself into liking the opposite gender, that's doing more harm for you than good. Let's see. Ordained by God. And they really thought back then that anything that was sex beyond procreative, beyond creating life, then it was just considered excess of lust. And they really didn't. And again, this is all culture-based. This is not based on biblical teachings. This is based off of their cultural understanding that if you go anything that is just for pleasure is excessive, and they were not okay with that. Everything had to be strictly for life-giving, nothing else. And again, culture, again, nature, it kind of all ebbs and flows, but it in no way is talking about orientation. It is just talking about their understanding of the nature at the time. And if we're really hung up on nature, what is natural for them? What is natural for you? Then I wanted to quickly switch over. I'm going to try to run through these quickly, and then if people have questions, I would like to go ahead and actually spend some time just talking with you guys, and seeing what your thoughts have been throughout this series. If there's maybe something else that you guys want to go further into, then we can definitely do that as well. Again, all recordings will end up being posted on our YouTube. So the last two that we want to talk about, and this is the one that I've actually been wanting to focus on a lot, is 1 Corinthians chapter 6 verses 9 and 1 Timothy chapter 1 through 10. And that is when people start using the term effeminate or homosexual and stuff more mostly from these two. So we're going to start with Corinthians, and that's chapter 6 verse 9. It says, "Know ye not that the unrighteous shall not inherit the kingdom of God? Be not deceived, neither fornicators, nor idolaters, nor adulterers, nor effeminate, nor abusers of themselves with mankind." I'm going to touch on the term effeminate. It is actually seen as malakoi is the original term. Well, there was a Hebrew version, and it was translated into Greek, but in an essence, it's malakoi is the term that they're referring to. And hello, new people. So malakoi is the term in Corinthians, 1 Corinthians 6 chapter 6 verse 9. Malakoi is what they're talking about. They are difficult to translate, but malakoi is, let's see, because I have these written here. So they're not, Paul, whenever he's talking about in Corinthians, he's not talking about orientation as we understand it today. He's actually talking about pederasty, which is a term used for when adult men take on younger boys. There's twofold, but when adult men go after younger boys to try to do them favors politically for their family, or just to teach them how to be a man, and they use them for sexual reasons, and obviously that's not okay. And then we're going to go into 1 Timothy chapter 1 verse 10. This one says, "For whoremongers, for them that defile themselves with mankind, for men stealers, for liars, for perjured persons, and if there be any other thing that is contrary to sound doctrine." And so that is the King James Version, but you'll see things for going against homosexuality. A lot of people use these two verses, but there's two words that have been translated from Greek into the English version. So it went, Hebrew, Greek, and then eventually into other languages. But it's malakoi and arsenikoi, which are the words that people get stuck on, that people say, oh, they mean, gay people, anybody in the LGBT community. But that's not what they're referring to. So there's pederasty, which is where we get the term pedophile from. Obviously, we know that's not okay. Gay people are not pedophiles, of which people seem to want to be hung up on. But there was no other form of homosexuality in the Greek-Roman world which could come to mind, because Paul didn't understand orientation, didn't understand same-sex love. It was more pederasty and things like arsenikoi, talking about call boys, which were basically... They would take young boys that were prepubescent, that were hairless, that looked more effeminate, and use them as like prostitution. But the arsenikoi was really referring to the people that had sex with these call boys, and they used them as pet boys, is what they really called them. They used them as sex slaves. Again, intermingling with the word pederasty. The Bible in and of itself is pretty empty on anything to do with gay people as we understand it today, or LGBT people as we understand it today. It's pretty silent on the matter. So the fact that people are hung up on these particular verses is really sad because of how much harm they've done to the community. And the main point that we need to look at is what Jesus says about all of this. Well, let me back up. The Bible has plenty to say about God's grace to all people, and God calls to justice and mercy. And Jesus actually says, I just heard about this in God and the Gay Christian. Yes, God and the Gay Christian. That is actually a really, really good book. If anybody has the ability to get that book, it's by Matthew Vines. It's called God and the Gay Christian, as Spirit Article had said. It's great. And another book to read would be Torn by Justin Lee. Both of those books are amazing, and they give you a lot of context and history in the Bible. So if you're able to get into those, even if you have to borrow it from the library, or maybe you don't have the means to do so, that's fine. But if you have a chance, or even like Google it, I'm sure there's like Cliff Notes out there. But anyway, this is what Jesus says, and this is something that I believe is probably sums up the entire doctrine of Christianity. It's Matthew chapter 22. Verse 37 through 39, and it's summed up in this. It says, "You shall love the Lord with all, your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all of your mind, and you shall love your neighbor as yourself." So it's love. Just love everybody. It doesn't matter. Stop trying to exclude people from the table. That was the whole point of Christ, is everybody's welcome. You remember eunuchs in the Bible. For those who've heard of eunuchs, they were considered the other, or oftentimes they may have been castrated, but that wasn't really always what they were. Typically, they were just seen as the other, untouchables. And eunuchs actually tended to help those that, or not help, attended the women, because the men knew that they weren't going to be having sexual relations with the women. I started watching Justin Lee on YouTube, significantly off topic, but I found out he wrote a musical about gay Christians, which is fitting since I love musicals. Why? I haven't seen that. I'll have to check it out. Message me after the live, and I'll definitely check that out. But the whole point is that everybody is welcome at the table. God never excluded anybody from the table. We are all welcome. We are all a part of Christ. We are all siblings in Christ. We should all be there, and we shouldn't ever have to feel like we couldn't be ourselves fully and completely present in whatever fashion, whether we're at church, worshiping in private, however we decide to do that. We should never feel like we have to hide ourselves because of those around us not accepting us. God will always accept us, no matter where we are. He meets you where you are. He is not asking anything more of you except to love him and trust him. And that is the whole point of this series, is I'm trying to break down the harm that these verses have done to the community, and really just focus on what the whole point of the Bible is. It is about grace. It is about love. It is about acceptance. Where you are, where you've been, no matter where you're going, God is there with you every step of the way. So, now that I'm done preaching, what would you guys like to see moving forward in these lives? Because we finished the Clobber verse series that I really intended to go after. But what would you guys like to see moving forward since we finished the Clobber verses? What do you guys want to see more of? Maybe change things around a little bit. You tell me what you would prefer to look for. But for those wondering while you're typing, Chris came back from Pennsylvania a few days ago, last week. I think it was Saturday is when he came back. So he was in Pennsylvania visiting his sister, and he went up with his mom and everything, and came back, and it really drained him just because he's a hermit and he's not used to traveling all over the place. So it was a bit rough for him. So now he's recouping. Whatever God calls you to do. That's great. Yeah, we've actually got a lot of stuff in the works for QCFV with our church and with future events and fundraisers and all that fun stuff. If you can, share our stuff, because we really want to reach 1,000 followers, because we're actually going to be giving away a painting. Once that happens, we're going to be giving away a galaxy painting that I did. And I'll show you one of them. I think I showed it last time on the live, but that's one of them. I can do more. I'm really just practicing, but we're going to be giving away a free painting, and shout outs and all that other stuff. And we'll probably even be doing a Patreon. So that's something to look forward to on that. If you're not able to do anything large, but you want to be a monthly donor, that'd be great. I really don't mind whatever you want. It's up to you. Everything helps. Oh, you're talking about with the live. Yeah, I think that the next one, so I'm going to be starting another thing that really affirms me is that even if we are wrong about this, we are still trying to love others, which is something that God tells us to do. We're coming from a place of love. Yeah. Which is better than coming from a place of hate. Absolutely. Yeah. We're always, I think if we can focus on, Justin Lee from the Book of Torn mentioned that if we're doing anything that is from a place of love, agape love, which is like love that transcends everything, that is God love, that if we're doing something out of pure and unabashed love, then we're never going to be doing anything wrong. We'll always be doing something from a place of love. If we're doing anything from a place of sin, which would be pride, vengeance, selfishness, those kinds of things, if we do things from that place, then obviously it's going to be in a bad way. It's going to end badly, whether that's going to be an internal negative response, or it's going to be a response from other people around you that's going to be bad. It'd be nice to hear more about how to talk to homophobes who use Bible to spread homophobia. Yeah, and I think that's something that I tried to do with these series that I've done for the Clobber verses, that it kind of gives you a background on what context that it really is, and using those to really combat people that are saying, well, this verse means this and this verse means that. I think the main point is that if somebody is homophobic, they're not going to change generally. And I hate to say that because people can change, but we need to get to a place where we as individuals aren't expecting people to change, that we need to accept that they may just not ever be okay with it, and we need to be okay with that in whatever fashion that's going to be for us. And so once we get to a place of, yeah, this person's probably always going to disagree with me and be hurtful, and I'm either going to cut them out of my life because I can't handle that kind of negativity, or I'm going to have to find a compromise and set boundaries for myself, and then kind of move forward from there. But that's easier said than done. And most of the time, it's just a matter of knowing how much you can take. If it's online, the block button. If you are one of those people that want to argue with others, then I definitely recommend the reformationproject.org. They have a great list of, like the biblical case. To put together a Bible study for queer friends. In my situation, it would be queer friends who are newer Christians. I actually, Spirit article, I actually did do a quick video about kind of the baseline of setting up a Bible study. I posted that on YouTube. I didn't know if that would be a live video that would spend a lot of time on, but go watch that video if you haven't already and tell me if that is kind of what you're looking for. And maybe the next video that I do can just be a Q&A, and that way we can touch topics on group Bible study and then whatever anybody else wants to do. Which I think the next video could be a Q&A or just an open discussion forum. That way, anybody that wants to talk about a particular topic, we can just focus on that. So we'll let it be viewer-led is what we'll do for the next one. Open discussion. I cannot type viewer. I can't write viewer-led. So that's what we'll do. The next live will be viewer-led, and it'll just be kind of an open forum discussion. That way, if others have things that they want to talk about, then I can speak on that. If there's questions, and just kind of be a back and forth, and it'll be more like that instead of me just sitting here giving a lecture. So, I think, what are we at? We're at 5:21 now. Generally, I try to keep the lives about 20 minutes, 25 minutes. Meanwhile, do you know any pastors, preachers, apart from the ones you've mentioned, that I can go for a consistent source of learning, or should I ask next week? So when you're talking about a consistent source of learning, are you wanting to follow follow YouTube videos? Are you wanting to pick their brain? If that's the case, I recommend my pastor, which is Landmark Free Holiness. Their website is Landmark Free Holiness doc, I think. Hang on a second. Yeah, honestly, I would, not necessarily pastors, but I would follow Austin Hartkey. He does amazing, he's gone deep dive into the Bible, in just about every single book of the Bible, and he really does a deep dive. He also does YouTube Live pretty often. So yes, Austin Hartkey. It's Hartke. Here, I'll put it here. I think is how it is. Let's see. Will you let me type? Okay. Whatever. Austin Hartkey. Hartkey. Or Hartke. Excuse me. Would be very interested to know more about polyamory in Bible queer friendly churches. I think I did a video actually on polyamory. If you go to our website, it's queerchristianfamilyvalues.com, and go under the page that says videos. There's actually a video about polyamory and what it says in the Bible. I really think you'll actually get quite a good use out of that. But yeah, I think that if you guys want to come back on this page then next time, and we can do an open floor discussion, and we can go about that. I'm gonna just put this in here. Why are there other Christians out there hating on us? They comment how awful we are. Honestly, I think people love to feel like they are better than others. I think that some people fall into that category because they have a lot of problems with themselves, and so they want to lash out at other people, and they like feeling like they are better than everybody else, and so they're going to pick at things, and they're going to be very hateful because they're full of hate. And I kind of pity them, but at the same time, that doesn't excuse them for voicing so much hate. I've learned to use the block button and just try to completely cut people like that out of my life, because otherwise it makes me feel horrible. Water's Edge Church is a good one. You can watch them online. Oh, Water's Edge Church. I'm gonna have to put that down. I've never heard of them. Water's Edge Church. Thanks for doing these for everyone I've managed to catch, and I've been making notes, and it's really helped, so thank you. Of course, absolutely. Some people do just like to argue. You're right, Spirit Article. Like, people I think they just like to get a rise out of people. It's kind of like the term that's been given to trolls on the internet. They just like to get a rise, and they like the attention that it gives them. I think at this watersedgechurch.net. I feel like I've heard of them. Do they have a female pastor, like a woman pastor, with blonde hair and glasses? Unless I'm thinking of a completely different pastor. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and let you all go. I have some work to finish up, and I'm going to go eat some dinner because I haven't had much since about 11 o'clock this morning, I think. But I hope everybody has a good rest of the week, and I will see you at the same place, same time next week, and we'll just do an open forum discussion, and we'll go from there. So make sure you have your questions prepared, and we'll get to it. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.